Mama Selena for African Daisy. It is another beautiful Wednesday in the Word. And guess what? Thanksgiving is coming and Christmas is coming. That's right, Christmas is coming. I love Christmas. So anyway, let's look at this. Wednesday in the Word. I know I've read this one before, but it's so good. So we're going to read it again. It's in Proverbs 18. It says, "He who willingly separates himself from God and man seeks his own desire. He quarrels against all sound wisdom. A closed-minded fool does not delight in understanding, but only in revealing his personal opinions. Unwittingly displaying his self-indulgence and his stupidity. When the wicked man comes to the depth of evil, contempt of all that is pure and good also comes. And with inner baseness, dishonor comes, outer shame, scorn. The words of a man's mouth are like deep waters, copious and difficult to fathom. The fountain of mature godly wisdom is like a bubbling stream, sparkling fresh, pure, and life-giving. To show respect to the wicked person is not good, nor to push aside and deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips bring contention and strife, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are the snare of his soul. The words of a whisperer, a gossip, are like dainty morsels to be greedily eaten. They go down into the innermost chambers of the body to be remembered and mused upon. He who is careless in his work is a brother to him who destroys. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and is safe and set on high, far above evil. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall of protection in his own imagination and conceit. Before disaster, the heart of a man is haughty and filled with self-importance, but humility comes before honor. He who answers before he hears the facts, it is folly and shame to him. The spirit of a man sustains him in sickness, but as for the broken spirit, who can bear it? The mind of the prudent always acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise always seeks knowledge. A man's gift given in love or courtesy makes room for him and brings him before great men. The first one to plead his case seems right until another comes and cross-examines him. To cast lots puts an end to the quarrels and decides between powerful contenders. A brother offended is harder to win over than a fortified city. And contentions separating families are like bars of a castle. A man's stomach will be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth. He will be satisfied with the consequences of his words. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it and indulge it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words. He who finds a true and faithful wife finds a good thing and obtains favor and approval from the Lord. The poor man pleads, but the rich man answers roughly. The man of too many friends, chosen indiscriminately, will be broken into pieces and come to ruin. But there is a true loving friend who is reliable and sticks closer than a brother." I want to go back over verses 20 and 21. It says, "A man's stomach will be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth. He will be satisfied with the consequence of his words. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it and indulge in it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words." This whole chapter talked about the words. So many times it says the words of a man's mouth. In verse 4, the words of a man's mouth are like deep waters, copious and difficult to fathom. A fool's lips bring contention and strife, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin. Okay, God talks a lot about our mouth and what we say. This verse, it says that we're going to be satisfied with the fruit of our mouth, what we say, how we, I sometimes you hear people say like, "Oh, I'll say this. There was like years ago, there was someone that we knew that used to always say, "Oh, I'm so old. I'm so old." And they were young. They were not old. I think at that time they were in their 30s. And I'm just so old. Let me just tell you, he was the oldest 30-year-old that I've ever known. And at that, I was young at the time, but he spoke it. I have a dear relative, a great uncle who always says I'm slow, fat, slow, and I don't know, fat and slow. Well, yes. So anyway, there's something about our words. It's really good to pay attention to the words, because we're going to eat that. That's what we're going to dwell on. And, it's something, to be paying attention to this, to be aware of those things, so that the words that are coming out of our mouth, if you think about it, all through scriptures, God tells us to think on things that are right and pure and holy and good and just. And so when we think on things like that, right, then we're less likely to speak out things, right, that are not that. We're more likely to speak good, right, holy things. And so let's just be encouraged today to think on things that are right and holy and just, and then be aware of our speech. I know some people who are like, "Oh, I'm so stupid." No, you're not. Stop saying you are. Like, don't stop saying something like that. If people are saying to you, telling you things, cursing you, calling you things, you refute it immediately. Because you're not. We're a child. If for those of us who believe in Jesus, we are a child of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And we are what God says we are. So let's pay attention to the words that come out of our mouth. Let's pay attention to the thoughts, right? And the Bible says that we take every thought captive and bring it under the authority of Jesus, so that the thoughts that are going through our head are good and right and godly thoughts. And it's a daily renewing, a daily, minute by minute, sometimes renewing of the mind. So I love you all. I hope that you're having a great day. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.